The new Lionel conventional 040 shifter steam locomotives come in several road names under several part numbers. They include two versions of Pennsylvania Railroad, cab number 94 and cab number 112. There is a Christmas version, number 12, Halloween version, number 13, a Bethlehem Steel version, number 134, a Santa Fe, number 2301, Union Pacific, number 206, Alaska, number 5, Rio Grande, in the Bumblebee scheme, number 57, Southern Pacific, number 14, Milwaukee Road, in the Orange and Cream scheme, cab number 1039, Southern, in the Crescent Green scheme, cab number 281, Great Northern, number 1066. Out of the box, you will receive, obviously, the locomotive and the tender, the instruction manual, smoke fluid funnel, smoke fluid pipette, the nut driver used to remove the side rod screws to replace the two replacement traction tires. These locomotives feature a die-cast tender, boiler, steam chest, pilot, die-cast tender trucks, a powerful DC can motor, a wireless IR tether, a magnetic coupler on the rear and on the front of the locomotive, headlight in the front and rear of the locomotive, and a smoke unit. Also has an engineer and fireman figure. The tender features Rail Sounds Ready to Run or Rail Sounds Light, which we will demonstrate shortly on the track for you. The underside of our 040 locomotive features two switches. These switches are located right here on the bottom of the engine, just behind the rear collector. The two switches on the underside are the run lock switch, which are directly related to the reverse unit. In the run position, you can access all three directional states. In the lock position is where you'd place the switch if you wish for the engine to only run in one direction all the time. The next switch is the smoke on off. In the SMK position, the smoke is on. In the no SMK position, the smoke unit is off. The underside of the 040 switcher tender features a manual volume potentiometer, which is located directly underneath the front of the forward tender truck. The volume pot is the silver round piece on the inside of the frame, just under the front truck. You will need to use a small flat blade screwdriver to increase or decrease the volume manually using this potentiometer. Now, before we put our 040 on the track and run it through its paces, we want to make sure that we first lubricate the locomotive. This is a really good idea for any new locomotive out of the box, as it will help the locomotive during its break-in period and also prevent any squeaks or squeals from presenting themselves during operation. To do this, we have some light oil from the Lionel lubrication and maintenance kit, and we simply want to apply a small drop of oil on the axle where it goes through the bearing in the frame. Just a small drop is all that's required, and we want to make sure we do this to both sides of the drivers for the locomotive. It's also a really good idea to put a small drop of oil on the eccentric crank or on the eccentric screw where the main rod spacer, main rod, and side rod are connected, as well as the side rod screw. Doing this to both sides, which will help lubricate and quiet this joint down. It is not necessary to lubricate the crosshead or crosshead guides. It's also a real good idea to put a drop of oil on the axle for the collectors. And this will prevent any squealing or squeaking from coming from these collectors as they rotate around the axles that they're mounted to. Just work that in with your finger, and we can move on to the tender. Now the tender trucks feature a Delrin bearing insert on the side frames. So it's really not necessary to oil the axles where they insert into these Delrin bearings. But we do want to make sure that we oil the collector on the axles that they rotate on. Once again, just a small drop of oil is required on either side. And then work that in with your thumb or your finger. Now, let's get this locomotive on the track and put it through its paces. Now, before we apply power to our 040, we want to make sure that we add smoke fluid to the smoke unit. To do this, we're going to use the pipette that came with the locomotive and Lionel Premium Smoke Fluid. What you want to do is you want to fill the pipette about 3/4 of the way from the tip to the very first line. Put the pipette in the stack, push down as far as you can, and apply the fluid. Couple puffs of air to break any possible meniscus that would block the vapors from exiting the stack. When we first apply power to the engine, it's going to start up in the forward direction. So we're going to start it up, hit the direction button, and get it into neutral. Upon power up, the rail sounds come alive. The engine will sit and make idle sounds, and when it begins moving, it will begin chuffing. Rail sounds are equipped with whistle, bell, and tower comm. The tower comm is activated by pressing the whistle button very quickly, getting a short whistle blast, and then the tower comm will play. Allow me to demonstrate.
Dispatcher here. You are clear. Pull. Over. Copy that. We got your signal. Out.
Here's the whistle, the bell, and I'll begin the locomotive moving by pressing direction again. The smoke unit that puffs in sync with the chuffing of the locomotive should get a great volume of smoke out of a little locomotive. And the locomotive running in forward. Now, when you're running this locomotive, both the front and the rear headlight will be on all the time. And the locomotive features both a front and a rear magnetic coupler. These 040s are fantastic locomotives for small and large layouts alike, as they will easily negotiate 031 curves all the way up to the largest curve on even the largest railroads. While it is unfortunate that these locomotives do not include a 9-volt battery harness, one can be purchased separately from customer service to keep the sounds alive through the directional state changes. It is important to note that the sound system comes on well before the locomotive begins moving. These engines are available now. They're on your dealer shelves, and we hope that you'll make them part of your collection in the near future. Thank you.